Hello and welcome to Game 4 of the Foxtel Cup, coming to you from Blacktown International Sports Park. Ainslie and West Perth chasing a spot in the next round. Joining us in commentary is 289-game superstar with the Saints, the Swans, the Bulldogs, Barry Hall. Barry, welcome.
G'day, Mark. Yeah, really excited today to see a bit of talent from, teams from all over the country.
The Ainslie Saints, the reigning champions in the NEAFL Eastern Conference. Big task for them today as they take on West Perth, who have begun the WAFL season in relatively shaky form, it has to be said. 5 games, 2 wins, 3 losses, and they haven't kicked more than 14 goals in a match so far this year. But let's have a look at the Falcons as they'll line up in this match in the Foxtel Cup. Plenty of experience in defence with Hunt, Lacroix and 3-time best and fairest winner Dion Flay. And keep an eye out for those small forwards, Strike, Salikas and Sailor, to do some damage today. And Barry, some breaking news from the Ainslie camp, which I guess comes out of the blue to some extent, with the captain not lining up today.
Yeah, certainly, Mark. Big news from the Saints today. Their skipper, Ian Lawless, is expecting his wife, Naomi, to give birth today at any minute. So good luck to him and his wife with that. We can give him a leave pass for today. Probably some of the other players you need to look out for is Mark Crook, originally from Colac. He's in his 5th season at Ainslie. He played a few games at GWS, so he's certainly no slouch. Another player that I'm excited to see is small forward, a young left footer, Nick Payne. He's certainly got to get to the feet of this bloke I'm going to talk about next, which is Ken McGregor. AFL trackers will know him. 152 games at the Crows. We will probably expect him to have a really big impact today.
Ainslie going through their final preliminaries. Let's check then how this Foxtel Cup for 2012 has unfolded. It began up on the Gold Coast with Morningside too good for Launceston. Then it was Port Adelaide over Subiaco and Adam Ramanauskas as we welcome you to the commentary today. Werribee last week far too good for Burnie.
Oh, no doubt. That's probably the most impressive performance so far that we've seen in the Foxtel Cup. They were just dominant over Burnie last week, and I think really announced themselves in this competition as a team really to look out for. But today it's all about these two teams, and as we spoke about last week, Mark, it's all about getting off to a good start. It's an early morning start for both of these teams, so it's generally been the team that's got off to the best start have been the team to win the game generally. Glorious
conditions as we speak here in Blacktown, but as we cross down to Ben Dixon, hasn't been that way this week in New South Wales. Good morning to you.
Thanks, Mark. Ideal conditions, as you mentioned. Sun's just poking its head through the clouds now. A little bit of dew still on the ground, but that won't take long to go. And I went out into the middle, and it is hard as a rock. I tried to stick the key in, but not successful. Absolutely hard in the middle, so perfect conditions. And it's pretty hard to believe the ground's in such good nick with this overlay we can see here. Sydney this week have had torrential rain. It was outstanding footage, really, because I'll tell you what, you wouldn't have known it. It's 15 k's down the road at Parramatta, these shots here. And I'll tell you what, Mark Reddings, he's lucky to be here today because that's his cab, as you see. A bit of backstroke, but we're looking forward to his call today.
Good on you, Dicko. Well, the truth be known is that Barry Hall was my navigator from Sydney to Blacktown today. He had his phone out. And
did a great job too.
Did a great job. Got us here in perfect time. And great to have the former champion sitting alongside us in the commentary position. Tough task, though, Adam, for Ainslie.
Yeah, look, a very tough task. And we've probably seen that with, I guess, the SANFL, the WAFL and the VFL sides. When they've come up against I guess, the lesser opponents, they've been able to really assert their dominance. But, look, we're looking for big things from Ainslie today.
So the sun is shining, as we said, the ground in remarkably good condition despite the conditions experienced in this part of Australia in the past 2 or 3 days. Ball bounced in the middle and this match is underway. And a free kick off the ball already. Mascoulis will be the recipient. In fact, no, it's going to Hutchings. So West Perth to go forward with the first possession. Some indecision. Now Mascoulis does get a touch. Back to Hutchings. Whoops, a little slippery inside the centre square. Mascoulis with a second chance. A tumbler inside 50. Barden flew. Gets a second chance. Throws it on the boot. The bouncing ball makes its way goalwards off to the left. Big boy is the half forward for
big boy,
West Perth.
And only 20 years old from the TAC Cup competition, played with the Northern Knights, so he came over to Perth to try and get a bit more of an opportunity and show his talents.
The turnover's taken place again, and Johnson hard up against the boundary line, looking for an opportunity inboard, but This is a tough kick, Barry.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, definitely a tough pocket to kick goals from. Bit of a nervous start from Ainslie. The kick out there and out of bounds there. So,
well, Johnson gave it a chance, just sliding across the face, so a minor score. In fact, out of bounds, so it will be a restart for the Saints in the back pocket with Robert Toohey, who's acting captain today, as we said, with the skipper Ian Lawless. His partner Naomi was expecting the child tomorrow, but you can't plan these things to the minute, we're told. Kick to half back, and the Saints with an opportunity to clear. Costigan shut down immediately. Pressure from Van Berlo, and the umpire calls for it.
You look at the way West Perth is setting up. They need to bring more of their forwards up the ground just to allow space to their bigger forwards.
West Perth with a chance to clear again. Van Berlo, slick hands. Hutchings jams it on the boot. Zanetti just did enough to get it to Salikas. He spins and Cook kicks towards the pocket. I think he was looking for an option almost at the top of the square, but there wasn't one forthcoming, and the ball is run over the line. We'll have a boundary throw in there, about 25 around from the West Perth goal.
And great forward pressure there from West Perth. That's all you want to see early in the game.
Ruckman at it. Zanetti may have got a hand in there. Mascoulis was taken high and will win a free kick, getting a lot of the ball in the opening 3 or 4 minutes of this match.
And as Ben Dixon said, look, we had a lot of rain obviously during the week, and there's still a little bit of dew on this ground, so it's still quite slippery. So the importance of getting in low, and the school's having a shot at goal now.
That left footer comes around, gives it a good ride, and it's close. I think it's full points. First goal in this match to West Perth off the boot of Michael Mascoulis. He is having a very good start to this game.
That was a fair kick, Mark. I was going to give him a break for not passing off a couple of times, but yeah, certainly if you're going to back yourself and kick the goals, you can't say much about that.
And look, and well deserved by Mascoulis. He's willing there to put his body in and get in and under, and you will get rewarded now with plays like that. We're seeing it more and more that the umpire will protect the player making the play.
So the Saints under siege early here. Good bounce in the middle. Ruckman go at it. And the umpire calls again for the ball.
And 6 pairs, Baz, inside West Perth's forward 50. It's very rare we see that in this day and age in football.
As you say, Rama, the half forwards have really got to come up and create some space behind them. It's really congested down there.
Stone won the tap. Again, the hard footy is there to be won, but no player can extricate it. And like the look of Marcus Crook, gets a lot of the footy. He's got the headband, Barry. He's got the flowing locks as well. We're envious as the ball comes out with Van Berlo. A high ball inside 50.
You and that bloody silly
Zanetti comes to the side of that congestion. And Salikas off to Black. Barden gets involved, conceding ground, and now possibly a turnover. Opportunity for Josh Bennett to swoop on the footy. Gets a hand pass away to Fleming. Toe pokes it. Almost boundary line. Stays inside the field of play. Bennett goes again. Terrific second and third effort. Over the top to Crook. And now a short ball into the pocket. Too much carry. And Bartholomew can not only clean up, he can set up a West Perth attack through Nelson. Unlucky not to be drafted. Finds Mascoulis at half-back. West Perth on the march. Good courage shown. Johnson may have given away a free kick. As it stands, he's won the footy. Sends a left footer to the 50. Good strong body work from Zanetti. He's got some options inside. Now he uses Nelson, who's run on in the pocket. Hurries a kick. Couldn't quite get the height on it. And Walker was pushed in the back. The ball will come back.
And it's absolutely terrific there by Shane Nelson. He was the bloke that had the ball in the back pocket that switched it out there. And then to get all the way to have a shot on goal is a terrific work ethic for a young player.
Certainly a player that's caught my eye early days is Zanetti, a key forward for West Perth. You know, your key forwards, if they're not marking the ball, you want them to bring it to ground, and he's certainly done that to this stage.
Michael Lawless, kick is well weighted. Mark taken by Payne. Nick Payne, budding real estate agent for what it's worth. Drives it to half forward. Manning caught behind his opponent. Saints still a chance. McGregor. Now the kick comes from Watman. Intercepted by Black. West Perth setting up pretty constructively from their defensive half. Some experience there. Dan Hunt, one of those players, made his debut back in 2005. Nelson across to Hunt, and the switch is on to the outer side. And West Perth
worked this really well, West Perth. The switch, they were patient with it in the back half there, and it's certainly paid off for them. They're going to go into their forward 50 from it.
As Lacroix looks for an option, and over the back should be a goal looming here. Salikas loves a snap, gives it off instead. Saylor, running goal, open goal square, and that brings a smile to the face of Ben Dixon's special guest boundary side.
Monahan?
Oh, just put the pressure on early. Look, it looks like I'm going on, so I might
Hey, you know where your priorities lie, mate, with Foxtel Cup.
Well, that was even caught Ben Dixon by surprise. The shortest interview he'll ever conduct during the Foxtel Cup. But I'll tell you what, Mark Hutchings knows that the coach holds precedent.
He gets paid per interview, doesn't he, Dicko? So that was an easy one for you.
Oh, that was fantastic. That's look, and that's the access that we get to the players in the Foxtel Cup. So very good there.
Just disappointed Dicko didn't follow Hutchings out inside the centre square to complete the chat. Speaking of the man, gets boot to ball. Bright start by the Falcons. Oh, Nelson.
Well done.
Well, he rode the bump. Can he finish off? 45 out. Mightn't have the legs on it. Still a dangerous area for the Saints. Under real pressure here in the back line. Gobriel was involved momentarily, and the umpire calls for it. The alarm bells definitely ringing for the Saints. Bounce still in the hot spot. West Perth, the numbers. Johnson around his body. The bounce will be critical. That's a kind one. Becoming all too frequently inside attacking 50 here for Ainslie's line.
Yeah, I guess it's the importance of the midfield pressure here. We're seeing this ball up here. All the West Perth players have set up on the other side of their goals. So whereas all the Ainslie players have set up goal side. So what needs to happen there is those Ainslie players need to be responsible for opponent, because we just seen then three West Perth players are lining up to kick that goal.
The bounce in the middle. Tyndall stripped of it, and Lachlan Crook tumbles a kick inside 50. Kenny McGregor stood in the tackle, gets a kick away. Here's a chance. Kick was smothered though. Eric Stone was the man. Now on the left, shot on goal. First of the day for the Ainslie Saints. And may well they celebrate a goal coming off the boot of Nick Payne.
I think it just shows you how important clearances are in today's game. It was probably the first clearance they've won today. Get inside 50, give your forwards a chance, and they rewarded them for it.
And it was really well done by Ken McGregor here, because he was obviously wrapped up in that tackle, but still just to have the ability just to get that ball moving forward, just to allow his teammates the opportunity to kick that goal, and it was a great finish.
Mark Hutchings burnt Ben Dixon. Let's see if our next guest will.
Yeah, hopefully Jay Van Burler doesn't burn me. Mate, in terms of Bill Monahan's instructions before the game, you've got 6 forwards inside 50 at the moment. What's the strategy there?
we're just trying to create a bit of space through the middle, allow us to get it in nice and deep, create sort of one-on-ones or enough space for the forwards to work. So we've got some dangerous forwards down there, some quick nippy blokes, so hopefully they can get a few goals.
And you've been off for about a minute and a half now, and you're still blowing, mate. Conditions quite tough.
It's a bit humid, yeah, a bit slippery on the with the hands as well, so it's good. Can't wait to get back out.
Well, mate, well, I'll let you go. All the best.
Thanks there to Jay Van Burlo, of course, famous family in the West. His brother Mitch plays with West Perth, and of course Nathan at the Adelaide Crows, and what a distinguished career he is building. Payne may have got a free kick, went unrewarded. Black, hand pass, was chopped down, and Payne gets involved again. Kick just slews off the side to Desco. In position A, takes the mark. Cross to Hunt. Short ball. Spoilt was Nelson. Good pressure by Ainslie for the time being. Flay was shut down. His hand pass was a little astray. Comes to McGregor. Once again, stand, kick. but it's all red and blue. That's interesting. Switch of play off the outside of the boot if you don't mind. And LeCras served a couple of weeks suspension in the WAFL. Goes short to Tedesco.
Any relation, Mark?
LeCras?
LeCras?
Yes, brother of, from Cervantes in WA, and no doubt the Eagles would wish that Mark LeCras was available at the moment, but of course the knee reconstruction has ended his 2012. Ainslie go to the wing. Oh, brilliant mark. Goulet, what that juggling effort near the boundary line. He hung on. The kick didn't match that particular grab. And it allows LeCras to saunter after it. Two options. Well, it's split Manning and Van Berlo. No talking there. Goulet was crunched and then turned it over. Salikas, Van Berlo makes up for that little error. Across to Nelson, who's been really busy. Hand pass from Van Berlo, missed the target in strike, but again, so many numbers. And Bartholomew, top of the square, Sailor was always in the best position to take that grab, and he is a man who can take a high grab. Not on that occasion, but he certainly has the ability.
Well, we've just seen there his ability just off 2 feet to go straight up. He's been really lively also to start this game.
Best tall this season, 3 goals against East Perth. We've given him the greatest pump-up of all time, Barry Orr, but that tends to happen in commentary. He's missed to the left-hand side.
You Mosdy, Mark, don't do it again.
And we're just seeing here, Sailor just straight up off 2 feet. Yeah, great grab.
Lovely spring in his step. Ball coming out of defence, Donaldson. Couldn't bring it to ground. Salikas played for the free kick. Umpire having none of that. And now Black. Salikas goes again. Working hard was Marnie for Ainslie. Now Black goes, but that ball is trapped.
It is very willing in there, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're both putting on a lot of pressure.
Well, that's the only way, well, not the only way, but that's probably the most important thing for Ainslie to stay in this game is going to be how long they can maintain the pressure against West Perth.
Starting to get their hands on the footy a little bit more. And this contested ball, once again, trapped between a couple of players. Hutchings absolutely stopped in a roadblock.
And again, Baz, we're just looking at a West Perth forward line, and we're seeing still 4 or 5 pairs. It's fantastic for the midfielders to have that space to work in, but the difficulty of it all is that when a midfielder comes down, they want to see space going inside 50, and that's all that a forward wants as well, is space to lead into. What's going to happen if half forwards don't push up the ground, they're just going to run into each other.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing that tells me is they're not really concerned about marking the ball inside 50. Maybe they're just worried about bringing it to ground and getting the crummers at the front.
Jan Hunt was held in that marking contest with Ken McGregor. Andrew Strike, desperately looking to break his way back into the West Coast Eagles lineup, has played 11 games at AFL level. Short ball for Bartholomew. Got some options inside the centre square. Tyndall is one of those players. And now he just lobs it. Looking for, well, Salikas and Zanetti, lack of talk. They both look at each other quizzically. Hunt forced to spoil. Gets it back. Good pressure by Ainslie in the end. They certainly have started to put more pressure on the ball carrier.
No doubt, and as I said, that's I think would have been the most important thing that the coach would have said to him before the game, is that if we continually apply pressure, we'll stay in this game for a long, long time.
Here's Manning, weaving his way out of trouble. Took them all on. And it comes to Black. West Perth through the corridor again. Shannon releases Tedesco. Wanted a fair time. In the end, he spots his man in Andrew Strike. Let's go down to Ben Dixon as he catches up with the coach from the Ainslie Saints.
Thanks, Mark, and Chris Rourke. Thanks very much for your time. Firstly, you know what the Foxtel Cup's all about, having played last year, and tough assignment today.
Yeah, no, they've been good to us. I don't know, each year we get a good draw, but no, look, we're happy to play the better sides, and yeah, I think we're having a bit of a crack here. It's been good.
Yeah, the pressure's been obviously pretty hot early, and I suppose in terms of your opportunities forward, you've made the most of the one entry, but it's pretty crowded. And is that your strategy going into the first quarter?
Yeah, look, we've worked really hard on making sure we're accountable with these good sides. If you want to play off, and they'll pick you to pieces. So I've been really pleased. We've worked them hard, I thought.
And have you had a little bit of a look at any vision of West Perth or anything like that in terms of background or I suppose, educating your players on who they're up against?
Yeah, look, we were lucky. We we've got an ex-Ainslie bloke up in Perth who sent us down plenty of information on them. It's been correct. They move the ball really well. They go back through the centre. So, yeah, we knew what to expect, and it's been a good contest.
And you yourself, outstanding coaching CV, Coach of the Year last year, 2011. You didn't really want me to mention this, but I'm going to pump him up. Keep going. So that was obviously a great achievement for yourself.
Yeah, look, it was terrific, and as all good coaches know, it's the team you got around you, and I've been really lucky with the blokes I've got working with me, and I've got a really good squad of young kids, and they've been really supportive. And Ainslie's a great club; it's well resourced, so they expect the best, and hopefully we delivered last year.
And I've got to keep it in Foxtel Cup here. When I come up to the coach's box, I normally make a signature move that turns the game. McGregor to centre-half back. How we go with that one?
Kenny's a centre-half forward, he told me.
Just trying to throw you curly. Thanks for your time, Chris.
Thanks, Ben. Cheers.
Ben Dixon spending a couple of moments there with Chris Rourke in his 6th season as coach of Ainslie. And he's taken the team to the last 3 grand finals, winning a flag in 2010 and 2011, the New South Wales ACT Coach of the Year last season. But as those discussions were taking place, Andrew Strike kicks a goal for West Perth.
Mark, we just spoke about Ken McGregor, and he's actually playing on Daniel Hunt, who was a listed player at the Swans when I was there. So that's going to be a really good battle for him.
No doubt about that. West Perth continue to stretch this lead. Approaching quarter time, the margin is 21 points. As into the ruck, West Perth throw Barden, and the Falcons will get a clearance from that player. Good spotter, Salikas on his chest. Kicks to the fat side, as they call it. Hutchings coming from the side. Defence through Goulet effectively spoilt the ball. Still in dispute. Goulet gets involved. A hand pass, not bad for Tui. Kick along the line, and the ball is seen over on the outer side of the ground.
And we see that forward structure there, Ramo, had changed a little bit. I don't know whether they got the message or not. They had 3 pairs back in the goal square and a half forward looming about 30 metres out, which worked a lot better.
Barden again in the ruck. Van Berlo. Good evasive skills. Hutchings, centering kick. Too much on it for a couple of Falcons. Johnson put his body over the footy. Now Black. Strike. Good pressure by Ainslie coming out of defence. And the crowd got one hand to it, but that opened the way for Bennett to swoop. And a floater inside 50. West Perth had the numbers though, and Hunt read it superbly.
Bennett just needed to give the handball off there just to his teammate, who was just at speed going through that centre corridor then, and that potentially could have been a goal for Ainslie.
And you generally want to give it to your best distributors.
Absolutely.
Too. So.
Black dropped the mark and then kicked into the man approaching. Payne was worked off it. Here's Shannon. Siren beats West Perth as they go forward yet again, but they have dominated this opening quarter. They would be pretty content with their work in this Foxtel Cup, their first appearance in this competition. It is quarter time here at Blacktown International Sports Park. It is 4-3-27, playing Ainslie, 1 straight goal. Quarter time here at Blacktown, and West Perth have made a very sprightly start, leading over Ainslie in what will be a knockout competition, of course. Some highlights of what we've seen in the opening quarter. And this is how it reads at the first change. 4-3-27 to 1 straight goal. All single goal kickers: Strike, Mascoulis, Saylor and Johnson. Hunt getting a lot of footy for West Perth, and Tui the leading disposal getter for Ainslie. As we go down to the West Perth's huddle and hear from Bill Monaghan, their coach.
Urgently, like it would be in a normal game. So someone else just take that, if it's Blackie or Nelly or someone in there. I want VB in at most of centre bounces. So the last one there, VB's going to pull right. I want Hutchie and VB in there as much as we can, all right? Dono, some really good work. Zed, just keep leading and jumping at the ball and it'll come, all right? I want Jono to get up, and Jono, I want you to get fairly high. Now, if you can get him, wheel quickly on your left foot, okay? He's a long, direct left footer. We want him in the ballpark. Now, you two, Slick and Zed, you can't both lead at the same ball though, okay? Let's lay some blocks for each other and make sure one gets out, okay? The other one can stay home or the other one can half them and hook back to the goal square. Nelly, your job is to float around at their feet and try and come a couple, all right? You'll get back into the middle. Psyche, keep going up and down the ground, okay? Working both ways. Other than that, what we need to do is some of our attack on the footy's been good and some of it's been ordinary. It's been a little bit up and down, all right? Our forward pressure's been reasonable, but it can lift up again. We need to keep the pressure up. Keep moving the ball quickly into our forward line so they can't get numbers back, okay? Take our catches, but get it in our hands first, okay? We've just been a bit sloppy. I think we're trying to give it off a little quick, okay? Let's get in our hands, quality ball use, and we will hurt them going forward, all right? So just calm down a bit when you've got the ball in your hand, but what we need to do is keep our running power up.
Bill Monahan pretty happy with his troops, and they broke into their groups and forward line. We mentioned that they had 6 pairs in there, and they just want to be a bit more unselfish, block, create a bit of space, and don't double switch. They wasted some opportunities going forward, so they're going to be a bit more direct this quarter.
Thanks, Ben. And Bill Monahan, in his 4th season as coach, I think has had that goatee for about as many years as well. So hopefully he'll come towards some reason in the next couple of years. But he's done a pretty good job, as have his players in this first term.
Yeah, look, I think they done a good job. They could potentially be further ahead on the scoreboard, but in saying that, I thought Ainslie were very good also that quarter. Really liked their pressure. I thought they, tackled and harassed the ball carrier at every opportunity they got. So, good signs there by Ainslie. West Perth just need to finish off their good work.
That's one thing. The double switch that they spoke about in the huddle is important to me. If you switch the ball to one side and you've got space, you don't want to be switching it back into traffic. So that's one for me, and they do it quite well. But as long as they don't double it back, and use that space on the first switch, I think they'll be okay.
21 points the margin then. Here at Blacktown for Game 4 of the Foxtel Cup. West Perth looking to advance in their first appearance in the competition. The umpire made a mess of that, and it'll come back. Very keen to get through to the next round. Picked a strong side here, the Falcons. Ruckman at it. Stone with him is Donaldson. Comes to Bartholomew. Turns 27 next Saturday. As Van Burlow's kick goes to Hutchings. Kicks for and finds Johnson.
Yeah, great kick there by Hutchings, and we've just seen at that centre bounce is that Hutchings, I think, is going to have a bit of a shadow for the rest of this afternoon, with Matt Hearn looking like he'll tag him.
Matt Johnson making his debut. He's in the state 18 squad, so a really promising young player. It's off hands, the first score of the second quarter. And of course, we are in Blacktown. It is GWS country, and a young man who I'm sure the Giants would love to have playing with them this afternoon.
Yeah, no doubt, and I actually thought Stephen Caniglio was picked for today's game, but obviously in the crowd today. So and look, he's made a fantastic start to his AFL career, and look, there's no doubt that he's going to be a very good player for the Giants moving forward.
Looks very comfortable at the highest level, doesn't he?
Yeah, very, very comfortable, and looks strong too with his movement through the midfield.
Former product of Swan Districts, and of course one of those rare athletes that had to make the choice between cricket and football.
Yeah, we see it more and more, don't we, now that I guess all these talented kids are obviously talented at multiple sports. So, obviously had the option with football and cricket, and we're all just glad he chose football because we're going to get to see a very good footballer. Nice clearance for West Perth. A spiral. Salikas nudging his opponent and was allowed to get away with that. Running into trouble, Tui.
Great pressure.
And that is great pressure, as Barry Hall said. He tried to find an exit. There was none. And the turnover has come. Nelson has been really lively. He's been really lively. We're just seeing here the forward pressure, and for a guy of Shane Nelson's, I guess, size, he's one of those small forwards who can go into the midfield. Exactly what you want to see from him. He too on debut from 45, gives it everything. Beautiful drop punt straight through the middle, and Shane Nelson is making this a debut to remember.
That's a massive goal, and purely from forward pressure, as we just seen. But it puts a bit of doubt in the defender's mind now. Every time they get the ball, they'll be trying to rush to get rid of it because I know there's a pressure on them. So mentally, it's a big win for West Perth.
Yeah, it's the perceived pressure, isn't it, that you rush at disposal because you think you're going to get run down. Now we had 9 players drafted out of the Foxtel Cup last season. Shane Nelson was desperately unlucky not to be drafted last year, so a fantastic opportunity, and he's really taking it so far.
Just as they did in the first quarter, West Perth really putting the Ainslie defence under pressure. Donaldson with the lead. Van Berlo squeezes it back to Hutchings, and Lacroix with some agility. The big man pokes it short. Mark was dropped by Strike. He'll be disappointed with that. Clearance by Fleming to half forward. Tracking it towards the boundary line. Keeping it alive. And this ball goes inside 50, but Hutchings manages to clean it up. As we head downstairs, Ben Dixon does have that man in question, Stephen Caniglio, with him.
That's right, Mark. And Stephen, you're resting today. Didn't travel to Perth. To Adelaide with the boys.
Yeah, no, I didn't travel this weekend. Having a rest with a couple of the boys. So yeah, it'll be hopefully a good game this afternoon against Crows.
And how are you enjoying your time at GWS? I was up lucky enough during the week to have a bit of chat. Tom Scully's loving it. How is it?
Yeah, it's been great so far, and regardless of the heavy losses that we've been getting, we're learning every week, and we've come up against some good teams. But regardless of that, Sydney's been great.
Being in Perth, boys, good to watch West Perth and catch up with a few of your friends here. Who are these people sitting next to you, mate?
We've got Steve Johnson here and his partner Karen. So watching little Matt, who's playing his first game for West Perth. So yeah, good chance to come out and show a bit of WA support.
Awesome, mate. It's great to have you here. And how have you seen, I suppose, GWS in terms of making the imprint into the AFL? Blacktown, good place to live and play and train. And
yeah, it was a great place to train, and a supporter base is slowly growing in West Sydney, and it will take a bit of time, but so far, there's a word of Greater Western Sydney getting out there, and a lot more people are starting to talk about AFL, which is good.
Awesome, mate. Well, thanks very much for your time, and thanks very much. You've got a big supporter base up here, mate, so it's great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good boy.
Good boy indeed. Ben Dixon doing some good work down there. A lot of support, in fact, for some of these West Perth players. Anthony Salikas has got his nana, his aunties, his uncles here, and his parents are back in Perth watching this game on Fox Footy. So the Salikas family, one of many really getting into the Foxtel Cup.
Yeah, and it's terrific for them. They obviously get the opportunity to play a game on television. So it's a big thrill for a lot of these players.
So a long ball from Simon Horner. McGregor gets there on the up. Hand pass wasn't bad. Still they go through Walker. Over the top. Opportunity 25 metres out. Snap on goal is there. Good goal. And Ainslie get one off the boot of Lachlan Carter, the 18-year-old.
And a very good build-up there. We're seeing Ken McGregor again involved in that goal. Was able just to squirt at that quick handball, but a great finish by Carter, and just really able to steady himself and put it through. But again, they're really just hanging in there, Ainslie at the moment, through their pressure, and it's I guess at times it's really unnerving, the West Perth players. I'm guessing that the West Perth players think it's going to open up, but Ainslie just been able to continue their pressure and create turnovers through the West Perth poor disposal.
Second goal of the day for Ainslie. Donaldson spikes it, makes about 25 metres, and the ball is toe-poked inside attacking 50. Costigan back to half forward. McGregor, that AFL experience comes to the fore again, manages to squeeze the hand pass back to Costigan inside 50. Horner wanted the free kick, looks desperately at the umpire for some acknowledgement, but there is none.
Great effort from Costigan in the back half there. Left his man, attacked the footy, and now they've got it inside their 50, so great effort from him.
So Ainslie inside attacking 50 on consecutive occasions, and they'll win a free kick. Or has advantage been paid? Well, that will be disputed by the Ainslie players, no doubt. Advantage was given, was there one?
Well, that's the difficulty of this rule now that if there is a free kick and your teammate does take the opportunity and kicks the ball, it's classified now as advantage. So, look, look, it's disappointing, obviously, because Ainslie should be having a shot at goal now, but it's probably the teammates being aware of the situation and where he is. If he can run into an open goal, no worries, but if he's got pressure around it, just stop.
Mark Hutchings didn't know he'd have to climb the fence with Blacktown to get the footy, but he did just that. And the ball is worked over the boundary line. On the wing, not far from Ben Dixon, who's been very industrious so far. Dion Flay, three-time best and fairest winner for the Falcons. Marshalling this West Perth defence. Donaldson in front. Comes to Tyndall. And working it towards and over the boundary line is Goulet in close attendance with Black.
Yeah, very good tackle there by Black.
It's certainly a one-on-one game at the moment. No teams are dropping a number off or anything like that. Ainslie to stem the bleeding a little bit. They're certainly staying one-on-one. So
over the top, Stone did pretty well. Got it down to Marnie. And there's a push in the back. It's going to be an Ainslie ball.
Goulet. And it was Black there. We're just seeing, just drove the knees in there to the back. So Goulet really earned that free kick.
Marcus Crook. Kick was spoilt decisively. Van Berlo looking for crummers. Possibly this man, Barden, not the best man for the occasion, but he did well at ground level. Still they work it. Little snapshot on goal is narrow. And that came off the boot of Andrew Strike.
Just feel, Baz, if West Perth do push a couple of those players up the ground, it will open the game. They're dominating possession. And what it is they're going inside 50, obviously, and it's just going into a crowded situation. Bring a couple of those players up, they obviously get more of the ball, and they go into an open forward line where their big key forwards can lead into space, because this ground at Blacktown, it's quite a big oval. It's the same size as the MCG, so there is plenty of space.
yeah, if you've got tall targets up there, you certainly got to use them. And those half forwards pushing up the ground, it's a good opportunity for them to turn around and get to the front square in the crumb.
And we've seen Nelson and Saylor, we've seen their work ethic, so they'll be able to get back to onto the ball if it does hit the ground.
Margin 23 points. Just under 8 minutes to play before half-time. Manning goes off the ground to the wing. Comes to Crook, who was the best on ground in last year's NEAFL East Conference Grand Final. Gets plenty of the football. Costigan back to Crook. Some acceleration. Kicking to the advantage of his forwards, but read beautifully there by Lacroix. Maybe a little hand in the back there.
Yeah, he might have got away with one there, Lacroix, I think. So
shows a bit of candy and then just waltzes and kicks inside the corridor and finds the man in Van Berlo.
Probably the clearances tell a little bit of a story at the moment. 4-16 in favour of West Perth. You win the ball in the middle, you win the clearances. It's just such an important part of the game.
Barden's kick to the hot spot under siege there. Dobreel laid off the hand pass. And now Ainslie out of trouble. The kick looking for a teammate or the boundary line. Not a bad result for Ainslie. Used to be known as the Tricolours. In fact, going back to 1978, Kevin Cowboy Neal was the captain coach.
Very famous name.
Former Saint will be, well, hopefully casting an eye over his former club.
Bit of alliance with the Saints. I think Jamie Shanahan, ex-Saint fullback, used to coach up here a few years ago.
And Kenny McGregor, who was in that contest there, he's an assistant coach, plus, of course, doing his best to produce a goal or two in the forward line. Comes to Black, spun into a tackle. Extricated there by Donaldson. And Hunt, and a good mark going back. Taking it was Jason Fleming. Short ball is okay. Then Goulet, who's been pretty busy in this second quarter as well. And so Ainslie with a bit of run at the moment. Bowles up to half forward. Bennett kicks to the pocket, and the mark taken in the pocket by Payne. He's about 35 metres out. Tight angle as we go downstairs into the West Perth coach's box with Bill Monahan and Ben Dixon.
That's right, Mark, here with Bill. Thanks for your time, firstly, and what an opportunity for West Perth to come into the Foxtel Cup and So he's been pretty hot early.
Yeah, it has. It's a fantastic opportunity for the club, and it was a long trip yesterday, and the boys have got off to a pretty good start, but it's pretty muggy out there, and it's a bit slippery, and we're not used to wet balls over our way, so some of our ball handling's been a bit sloppy.
Definitely muggy, I can tell that from the boundary line. But your forward line, you had obviously your 6 forwards inside 50 in the first quarter, and now you've isolated a couple. What was the tactic to have that at the start of the game?
Oh, it's really just for the centre bounce. We think that we're all right clearances, and if we get them back moving up at the footy, defenders tend to follow in behind them. So we're hoping for a quick kick out of the forward line, or a longer one to one of our key forwards from deep to mark the ball. The young kid playing full forward now, he's got a few tricks. He's just been added to our State 18 squad, so we're just trying to see if he can weave a bit of magic down there on his own.
Awesome. That's what we're showcasing the talent here in the Foxtel Cup. And Ainslie, how much information have you supplied your players on how they go about their football?
Well, as much as I could. I watched a vision from them from a couple of weeks ago, and they play some good footy. It's not easy to get a great line on them, but they recruit well, so it's amazing how there's always someone around who knows them, and when they got blokes like McGregor, it's pretty easy to find some information out on blokes like that.
It's great, Bill. Appreciate your time, and thanks very much to all your coaching staff. Nice and quiet in here. A cool, calm, collected group you are.
Yeah, we should have been here 5 minutes ago. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Billy Monaghan, one of the more popular figures in WAFL. Played 204 games for Subiaco and Peel, and as I said earlier, in his 4th season as coach of the Falcons. The ball is in the hands of Bennett, who was infringed upon. A kick and a half out from goal.
And a move here, the Ainslie forwards are all just standing there.
And so they'll want someone to jump and take the catch. Can't do so. But a centering ball is across the face of goal. It's going to be a free kick in the last line of defence.
And probably that kick from Bennett, it needed to go to the top of the goal square to allow then. It was just too close to the boundary. So if it's the top of the goal square, it allows their crumbing forwards the opportunity if the ball does hit the deck.
Rasmussen, Bartholomew, and the kick to the wing. Taken by Ainslie. Hand pass intercepted, Van Berlo, and now it really does open up for West Perth. Salikas in great position, takes the chest mark. About 15 out from goal. He's got plenty of players to choose from. He centres up. Well, Van Berlo might not have seen the pressure from behind. He didn't, but it doesn't matter. Kicks the goal.
Well, we've seen 2 totally different setups from Ainslie, crowded forward line, all huddled together. And then we go to the other end of the ground with West Perth, 2 players inside 50, kick into space, and that's the result. So it's, forward structure is just so important.
And it's probably the first time that West Perth have gone into an open forward line when they've won the football. It was a fantastic tackle there by the West Perth player there on centre wing that created the turnover. And what happens is all West Perth players are already all up the ground, so going into a 2-on-2 into your forward line is exactly what you want.
Yes, the Falcons, 5th on the table in the WAFL at the moment. Last year they started in ripping fashion, winning their first 8 games, made it through to the prelim final, but that's as far as it went. They really did tail off in the second half of the year as Hunt cleans up in defence, and now Tedesco on the outer side. Pops it to Bartholomew. And the game really starting to open up for the Falcons here. Zanetti on the end of a beautiful delivery. Looking for Salikas, and he copped a nudge. And the umpire had no trouble spotting that.
Yeah, it was just a little bit lazy, wasn't it, there by the Ainslie player. Just that little nudge, and Salikas milked it for all it was worth.
Well, he didn't need to do it in the end.
No.
The ball was, he certainly wasn't going to mark it, so silly free kick in the end.
Anthony Salikas, the leading goal kicker at West Perth in 2010 and 2011. This time never really online, and a minor score. So 12 scoring shots to 3. West Perth dominating and really had the chance here to put their foot on the throat of Ainslie.
One thing that's really impressed me about West Perth is their halfbacks, the way they run. As soon as they think they're going to win the ball, they just run. And what that does, if you don't receive it, it actually runs your forwards out of position. So it's a really good tactic.
Flay dropped the mark. The ball kept alive momentarily close to the boundary line, but we do have a throw-in just at half forward for West Perth. Barden was camped in front, and then coming from behind Horner. Crumbing it with strike. Well, the bounce has eluded everyone. Oh, that's gone all the way. Not sure it was intended, but it'll certainly go down as a goal to Andrew Strike.
Oh, well, it definitely wasn't intended, but it was fantastic clearance work there by Strike, who hit that contest at speed. And we're just seeing here that, you know, just a one grab there, and then just to take it in the forward line, you take your chances. That's why this game of ours is so great. It's an oval ball, and you're unsure where it's going to bounce. And there, Strike was, I guess, the lucky one, and he gets a goal beside his name.
Tells you a little bit about midfielders too. They haven't really got a dominant ruckman. There's no ruckman that's really dominating, but they're reading the hits, whether it's Ainslie or West Perth, which is a great trait to have as a midfielder.
Andrew Strike converts. Goal to West Perth with just over a minute to play. Marnie. Now Bennett. Hutchings has a piece of it. No clear possession in that scrimmage.
You can see now in West Perth's forward line, they've clearly changed their tactic. They've pushed up their half forwards and forward pockets now, and it's only two pairs inside their 50. So they've clearly changed that from earlier in the game.
Bennett and Walker combined. McGregor overran the football. Tyndall there to support. Wide ball for Saylor, and they have released some players. And one of those is Strike. He's got Hutchings alongside him. He'll kick longer and more centrally. And Van Berlo, who's standing there biding his time, too much freedom.
Well, what he did, he snuck away from the stoppage inside 50. He backed his teammates to win that ball over on the wing, and he just drifted forward and found plenty of space.
2008 fairest and best winner for West Perth, gets a lot of the football in the WAFL. And this shouldn't present too many problems. From 40 metres out, on the siren, directly in front, the kick on the way, and great finish for West Perth in the first half. They have dominated Ainslie, and at the major change, the players come together, celebrate what's been a really positive performance.
Yeah, really positive, and they really dominated the second part of that second quarter there, West Perth, where they really were able to assert their ascendancy. Ainslie would be disappointed because they've really had their moments in this game. Just when, just probably a touch disappointing when they brought the ball forward, Baz.
Yeah, it is a little bit. For the amount of play that West Perth's had, I reckon they should be a lot further in front. You know, in a commanding lead at the moment, but in saying that, I still reckon they should be a little bit further in front.
Well, Ben Dixon is downstairs with one of the veterans of this lineup, Dion Flay.
Yeah, thanks, Mark and Dion. It's been a pretty, I suppose, hot first half. A bit more direct that quarter, and you got rewarded.
Yeah, it's only a small ground for us, considering our home ground's quite large, doing up over in WA. So the shortest way is obviously down the guts, and we've taken advantage of that, so it's been good.
And you've seen it unfold off half-back. How have you actually seen the game so far?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. I think our pressure's been sort of a high level. Obviously, we're sort of locking our forward line quite a bit and zoning a bit off into the midfield, so it's been really good. We expect that Ainslie will come back after half-time with plenty of firepower. So
he's a hard taskmaster, Bill, because he's not happy, and you're obviously 41 points in front.
Yeah, well, we set high standards of ourselves, and we did come over here to give a half-hearted effort, so it's a big second half, hopefully. So
good luck in the second half, Dion. And we'll be back Blacktown with Ainslie taking on West Perth, 41 points in front. Stay tuned. Back Foxtel Cup live here at Blacktown. Second.
8-6-54 to Ainslie, 2-1-13. Van Berlo with 2, Strike with 2, and Van Berlo with 2 goals plus those 17 possessions. Bennett, the leading possession winner for Ainslie, with 9 as we head down to the West Perth rooms and hear from Coach Bill Monahan.
We're not going to go through that. What I want, and I appreciate the fact that you're in here now and you're taking a few jumpers. I know it's wet, and every time the ball gets onto a jumper or onto the ground, it becomes slippery for the next minute or 2. All right, but we do have to be cleaner with the ball. We've actually got through them 3 or 4 times, and then the ball's just been bobbled or we haven't got it cleanly at ground level. We've just got to be a bit cleaner, so concentrate more, watch it in your hands, because eventually we're going to get some wet weather back home and all those things are going to be here as well, all right? So we just need to be clean. What I want to see is in this half is that our run really lifts, okay? There's been a few blokes with low ground time, there's not long games anyway, and especially guys who have come in, like Chris Shannon, who your greatest asset is your run. So if you get it, and we get it into Chris's hand, encourage him to run. Same with Nelly, same with Jono. That's why they're in the side. They're giving us some more leg speed through the middle, and we want them to run and carry. Cody, you get the ball. That doesn't mean we take 1 or 2 extra bounces and then put all our forwards out, but we've got to get it in the hands quickly if blokes are going to run. Striking, whether it's Hutch or VB through the middle. Let's get the ball, move it quickly, so we run hard, take the game on, protect the ball carrier, and same back the other way, all right? So whilst I talked a lot then about offensive run, we do need to switch on to defence, all right? And just hit the first 3 targets. All right, if you're under pressure, a couple of times we've been out and we've just kind of second guessed a bit, whether that's by hand feeding the ball back or by foot, see a target, hit it, wheel, play on, all right? So play on, wheel and go, support from behind. And I want to see blokes run. That doesn't mean we get in and clog up our forward line. It means from half back we start taking them on and actually trying to hurt them with our offensive run, all right? But that doesn't mean these 2 things drop off, all right? These 2 things have to be up there every day. We've got to keep up our pressure skills, forward 50 especially, we can turn them over, all right? Keep up the pressure skills over the ball and attack the footy. So those 2 things aren't here up for comment. They have to be in. We just want to be a little bit more effective with our run, all right? So let's go. We'll stay with the
West Perth coach Bill Monaghan. His players heading back onto Blacktown International Sports Park. And Ainslie, no doubt, a similar message coming from Chris Rourke. They are down by 41 points. But it doesn't matter how many coaches you see in those situations. It's always interesting to see the method that at WAFL level, at SANFL level, at VFL level or AFL level, how these coaches go about their work.
Yeah, look, most of the messages are fairly similar. I guess teams, no matter what standard it is, you do the basics well and you're a fair chance. So, as I said, doesn't matter what standard it is, most of the messages are the same.
But what I took out of that address then is he wants his players to run more. And we've seen, as we spoke about earlier, is that last part of that second quarter they started to run, they started to spread away from stoppages, and they were really able to expose Ainslie. And that's probably the difference in, I guess, the levels of competition, where, you know, the WAFL, big, wide, open expanses of over there in Perth, they're quite fit. They're quite fit players, and that's probably what I expect to see in this second half, where West Perth will really be able to open the game up through their run and carry because of probably their superior fitness over the Ainslie players.
It just shows you how dry it is in Perth at the moment. It has been for 6 months, and I'm from there, so I can speak with authority. The West Perth players regard this as really slippery conditions.
Yeah, it's obviously tough, and it'll be interesting to speak to Ben Dixon down there. He's down at ground level, but it's obviously tough conditions and slippery ball.
Mate, this Broadford 10 a.m. on a Saturday morning, Baz. I think it's a bit more slipperier.
Mate, it's tough anywhere at 10 a.m.
Yeah, well, conditions from afar look terrific, but it is a bit slippery, and no doubt ball control has been tough at times. Second half underway, 41 points the lead to West Perth, and not for the first time today. The umpire will do it all again.
I'll be real interested to see how Ainslie go about this second half, whether with the space that West Perth are created in their forward line, whether they'll drop a number back or whether they'll back himself one-on-one and try and get himself back in the game just in that one-on-one brand.
Donaldson and Stone. Stone with a hand on the footy. Crook, head first, inviting danger. Van Berlo racks up another possession. Cross to Lacroix. Sailor sweating on his opponent. Close to the line. It's kept alive, but only as far as Van Berlo. Back to Johnson. Smooth mover. And just floats a high ball. Donaldson, under immense pressure, stood tall. And now the switch is on. Although, will it get to the target in time? It does, only just. And West Perth now start to build to Lacroix. He received it from Tyndall. Little 1-2. And then the kick, not to the advantage of his forward. Barden was caught behind. Black, though, mops up really well. Barden's hand pass straight into the hands of Harris. And now Crook, a terrible bounce, a crooked bounce. Still Ainslie pressing, but it comes to Nelson. This Australian rules football can be cruel at times. And Barden slung in the tackle, but got the ball away to Zanetti. They're conceding ground, but now they can start to spot up an option. Johnson spears it. It's paid a mark, about 58. And 50 out from goal, Nelson.
Really? Sorry, mate.
About to go to Lacroix, realising it was outside his range. Sailor at the back. You talk about the spring. Well, there is the man with the great ability to leap off a step. And Sailor's got it.
Small forward, he'll go back and have a shot. They don't pass him.
Tell you what, he's...
he pretended he was going to...
He's 4 or 5 metres outside the boundary line. This will be... And this is a great angle as we watch the banana bent too early.
Just really exciting, I think, for West Perth moving forward in this season with Zanetti and Barden, 2 very young key forwards, and they both just work really hard to present.
Lacroix has the set here. He didn't take what he could have. And now it's Fleming across to Harris. Ainslie working in a tight space. Fleming, another hand pass. Ball is touched. Donaldson did really well. Just knocked it to the advantage of a couple of small forwards, one of whom was Sailor. And he just sails the ball in the direction of Barden, and the big man coming out at full tilt takes the mark.
Yeah, and as all good forwards should do, playing in front, because if it's a quick scrubby kick going forward, you give yourself every opportunity to mark that, and exactly what Darcy Barden did there.
A couple of goals last week. The young man, solidly built, giving this West Perth forward line some grunt. Kick on the way. Just veering across the face, still a live ball. And now it's run over the line. Not sure if it's intentionally there by the defender.
Yeah, well, I don't think he realised how much space and time he had, so he was either looking for a rush behind or out of bounds.
Michael Gabriel, and now he's in the action again, doing the rucking. It's 20 out from West Perth's goal. Harris under all sorts of pressure. And for a moment, I thought the umpire was going to penalise him.
Yeah, you hope he didn't go out of bounds deliberately there, because West Perth is such a good stoppage side. You don't want it in their forward line.
This time they've got some numbers around the footy. Stone releases Walker.
Well done.
With some zest, he runs out of defence. Manning caught behind Goulet. Foot race is on. Goulet controls it well. And now it's Watman. To half forward. Flay, well, ran right into trouble. Payne said, take that.
Yeah, just a fantastic tackle there. Barry's spoken about it a couple of times. Just the ability to apply that forward pressure. What it does, it gives your defenders a bit of a chance to rest and recover, because the ball has obviously been down there a lot.
Still in dispute, about 60 out from the Ainslie goal. West Perth pushing some numbers back. And now Manning releases Lacroix. He's got a man over the top in Johnson. And they can work through the corridor, just chipping the ball over. Barden, it sits in the air. Just make it really tough for the forward there. Nelson, nice move. And Lacroix's kick. Some danger attached to that, but such is the confidence now that they're starting to work the angles. Tyndall, Van Berlo, and Donaldson's kick really was poor in the context of that build-up.
Look, the viewers at home probably don't get to see it, but they're certainly taken on board what the coach said at half-time. They're all running now. We had probably 4 or 5 options, different options from West Perth in the middle of the ground, simply because they ran. So they're certainly taking that on board.
And Bartholomew responds to the voice of Flay. Again, the kick wasn't great. Lots of Ainslie defenders around this. Walker gets it across to Tui. His kick was touched off the boot. And Van Berlo, like the waiter, kicks the ball in play with one hand. Spots Bartholomew at the 50. He's a long kick of the football. Made his debut back in 2004. The kick was poor though. Overshot the targeting strike. And now Hearn. Close to the boundary line. It's Lacroix. Doesn't put too much effort into his work there, and he's penalised. Let's go downstairs. Ben Dixon with a special guest.
Thanks for being silent. Horner's about to go back on, so we've got to get in quick. How have you found the start of the second half?
We're slowly starting to get our hands on it, and guess what? I'm off now.
Hey, I've got a great record here, boys. This is unbelievable. Eric.
Speaking of records, there's a step around the body and a goal to Ainslie to make that scoreboard look a little more respectable.
And again, it was Nick Payne who was able to take that mark across half. But we're seeing just great pressure there by the Ainslie player. And Nick Payne again, he just really outbodied his West Perth opponent there, and great speed and a great snap there for goal.
As you spoke about, Rama, Bennett's tackle there was really set up that goal, because if West Perth had have squared that up, they had 3 blokes inside, no one away. So it was a real critical tackle at a critical time.
And Lacra's been really good. He just holds onto the ball sometimes just that touch too long, and his opponent there, Bennett, just was able just to strip it out of his hand.
Great finish by Jake Watman, the 17-year-old, playing just his second game of football. That will be a moment to remember for him, as will this entire match for many of these Ainslie players and West Perth. Both clubs very excited about being part of the Foxtel Cup. For the Falcons, it's their debut appearance. Flay weaves his way through some trouble. Salikas just wandering towards the boundary line. Strike was good across to Tyndall, and now Hutchings evades one tackle. Back to Tyndall, and he lowers the vision to find Strike about 60 from goal. Barden in his sights, one hand, he juggled that. In fact, he clasped that beautifully like a second slipper. He took it going to his right-hand side, and he'll go back from 30 metres out directly in front.
That was really well worked from West Perth. Really well worked along the boundary there. But the kick wasn't perfect, but it gave his forward a chance.
And what Barden was able to do is protect the drop zone of where the ball was going to go.
Here's Barden then. Can he finish what he started? Slides it home. A goal to West Perth. They get the response. And as the ball heads back to the middle, let's head down to Ben Dixon now. Lachlan Crook, an interesting player, a talented young player, and a story to tell as well. Ben.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. And Lachlan, a better start to the second half. Chris would have been happy at half-time.
Yeah, he was very happy. It's very high intensity, a bit more high than the usual games in Canberra. So I think we're starting to slowly adapt, and things are starting to click for us.
And he's ripping you off the ground a few times too, mate. And you're actually going out with his daughter. How does that sit with him?
Yeah, no, I'm just part of the rotation with Jack Marnie today. So, yeah, we're just taking in turns on the ball, mate. So, yeah.
And how have you found it, the heat of the battle? You've been in the competition last year. How have you found today's game?
Yeah, no, it's been really high intensity. It's I think we've got a lot to learn from today, and hopefully we can take it back to the NEAFL and be very strong.
Good on you, Lockie. Thanks for your time, mate.
No worries, thanks, Ben.
Yes, Lachlan Crook. Now, there's an interesting scenario for a coach and for a player. That's the ultimate threat, isn't it? You don't do the right thing by my daughter, you're not playing for my side.
What happens when they break up?
Yes,
it's going to be awkward, isn't it?
It'll be very messy. There'll be tears from both parties, I'm sure, as Ainslie win a clearance. Flay was put down, comes to Payne, kicks to McGregor, and he can't complete the mark. Almost had it a second time. Tedesco is there for West Perth. So too Flay, but it's Johnson to the wing if it gets to the back, which it will now. Donaldson, though, intended to find his man in Sailor. The ball ends up with that player. Short ball, it's good. And dare I say it, centimetre perfect. Don't normally steal Dennis Cometti's phrases, but I can on this occasion because Dennis is actually the #1 ticket holder for West Perth, it has to be said. Of course, he coached the club for 3 years back in the 80s, so a rarity, but I'm sure Dennis will be carefully keeping an eye on this game. His old club, West Perth. Barden looking for 2 in a row, and the big man just misses, and he punches his hands together in frustration.
Once again, it was a bit of a broken record here, but that open forward line and the break out of the midfield, it's just a real easy little kick and pretty hard to stop from a defender's point of view.
Fleming with real leg speed, and Payne played for the free kick. I'm not sure the Logies are this weekend. I thought they were last week, but maybe it was there. What's your call?
Yeah,
Barry Adams.
Look, I think it was a free kick. Crisp there was just If he would have made contact with the ball, I think it would have been play on. But we're just seeing the replay here. No, just didn't spoil. So it's nowadays the forward will get the free kick.
We don't get much as forwards.
Well, left that open for you, Barry. 4 goals last week for Nick Payne. 2 seasons with South Fremantle for what it's worth. And the radar just off on that occasion.
I think more to the point, Bez, you didn't get much as a forward.
Guys, just a quick observation down here. Half-time, the inside 50s were 22-14 in favour of West Perth, but the soft exits were 90% from Ainslie, so that's just, they're small fellas not working hard enough to keep that ball in.
Here's Manning, waiting for some options, and now called to play on. A lazy kick off a step is now resulting in a turnover. Ainslie, pump it forward. Off hands, and a couple of West Perth players.
Typically, we see a player kick off a step. I used to have a coach who, if you did do that, you'd be straight off the ground. It was his pet hate. He thinks you've got to kick through the ball and not just kick off a step. He thinks it's lazy.
You had a couple of coaches. Do you mind naming him, or should we leave that alone?
Oh, Paul Roos, he's a Fox footy man. So, yeah, it was one of his real pet hates, and something that, yeah, if you did do it, you'd be straight off the ground.
Nick Payne stands in the tackle. Cross to Horner. This is a touched ball, and a decisive fist comes from LaCroix.
It's probably, I guess, in many ways where Ainslie have probably just broken down a little bit when they've gone forward. They just haven't had a real marking target. McGregor's been able to get his hands on a few balls and bring it to ground.
Oh, what a mark by Van Burlo. Sorry, Rammer, that was a great fly from one of the chief ball magnets in this match so far, with the Falcons surged through the middle. Black drops the footy. He's got support. Comes to Nelson. And Barden takes it on his chest. Let's get Andrew Dicko with a special guest.
Thanks, Mark. Andrew Strike, positive start to the second half. Getting the ball in Johnson's hand. That was Bill's instruction, getting it in deep and long, and you guys are reaping the rewards.
Yeah, Big Darcy's taken a few grabs down there for us, which is great. So if we could just be a bit cleaner through the middle and get some good disposal to him, I'm sure he'll do the rest.
In 14 possessions, 2 goals. You've had a pretty handy day.
Yeah, well, it's not really important, mate. What we want is the win and to progress in this Foxtel Cup. So that's what we're here to do, mate.
And in terms of the slippery conditions, Bill mentioned, I know you're not clean because it's slippery. It's just the humidity. The ground's quite dry, but in terms of, I suppose, the humidity?
Yeah, it's just humidity. It's obviously real sticky and sweaty out there. But, yeah, I'm actually on, so I better go.
Well, I've got a great record today. On fire down here, boys.
If only you knew, Ben, that this is all pre-planned.
We could see that one coming too, Dicko.
We're just speaking to Bill Monahan, as we can see on screen, and he saw you, knew that there was a chance to cut you short.
And that was mark number 13 to West Perth inside 50, and Ainslie have only had 1 mark inside their forward 50.
Darcy Barton really standing up in this third quarter. Just over 3 minutes to play. And the margin out to 47 points.
Could be a coach's tactic down there, Dicko, that he doesn't want his players getting ahead of himself. As soon as you interview him, he puts them on.
Crook.
He gave me the nod at half-time, Baz, actually. He said, stop ripping me, boys.
And it'll be a free kick to Manning in the last line of defence. Bartholomew takes the mark. Here's our man LaCroix, so nonchalantly. And West Perth through the middle. Nelson. Hutchings sport from behind by Costigan. Still Hutchings goes, playing for the free kick. Goes to ground, now he's in trouble. Fleming. Was that out of bounds on the full? He got boots of ball, just a little bit of the leather on the boot, I think. And as a result, Saylor, the recipient. Kicking for Barden again. He'll have to be good to mark that. Just slightly out of position. And Costigan across the face. Looks for Watman. It's going to be a relay.
Oh, well, it's going to have to be a very good kick if you're switching the ball. You usually want to go to a free opponent.
Ainslie then working on the outer side. And trying to find an option up forward, but Zanetti read it really well. Dropped the mark, tried to keep it in play unsuccessfully.
I think Ainslie are really starting to feel the pinch of the game at the moment. As I said before, West Perth are just running in numbers. There's a lot of support there. They're not finishing very cleanly, but the work rate's certainly there.
Yes, West Perth, by their own admission, have been a bit scratchy to start this season. This may be a catalyst to reignite their WAFL campaign. Walker takes it and runs. Some real dash out of defence. Kick, though, was ill-directed. And Flay once again like a brick wall. Black wants to draw the man. Lacroix. Now Shannon can go all the way. He senses that. One bounce. Open goal.
Good goal.
Great finish. Almost the best play of the day so far.
You like to see that from a young man. Back himself, take the game on, and finish off with a good goal, rewards himself.
Yeah, Baz, exactly right there. You want to see those younger players in your team, when they do get the ball, just to take the game. The coach, as we heard during half-time, he wants them to run. He wants them to carry the ball. So, to me, that's a licence. He won't care if they're run down from behind. So, and I think that's definitely something that he wants this West Perth team to obviously take in to the remainder of the WAFL season also, because he knows he's got these young, quick, energetic players in his team.
And Barton's just come off the ground. He's a massive work rate today, so I think it's a well-earned rest from him.
And West Perth with the clearance. Nelson on debut. I think we might be seeing a lot more of this young player, not only in the WAFL, but as you said, Adam, desperately unlucky not to be drafted last year. He has a real chance to impress some important people. Well, no doubt. And Nelson and Saylor have been very good. Darcy Barnes had a really good third quarter. So it's really exciting for the season ahead for West Perth. I think once they can get obviously some continuity into their players in terms of playing together, I think you might see a really strong side. Yes, they are certainly one of those teams in the WAFL that you'd think would be contending for the premiership if they're up and running. Van Berlo. Saylor maybe spent it before he had it. Van Berlo continues to knock up some numbers. There's another couple of possessions. Got it from Black. And Bartholomew in the open space. Measures the pass, brilliantly weighted kick, and Hutchings in between a couple of defenders manages to take the mark. Well, Bartholomew, he must be invisible, because we've seen him probably 3 or 4 times, Baz, just standing in that centre corridor with no one absolutely near him.
As I said before, I think Ainslie are really feeling the pinch at the moment. Payne's kick is pretty good. In fact, that's a great delivery, and Horner out in front of his face. We haven't seen the ball delivered like that for the Ainslie forwards too often today. Well, they haven't probably had that time and space there where they've been able to get out on their own and deliver the football, and that's been due to obviously to West Perth's pressure. But Nick Payne, he's been really impressive today for Ainslie with his game. Simon Horner, who works in the Navy, so combining a bit of footy with the blue boots. Kick on its way. Oh, he's not all at sea. That's a wonderful goal on the siren, 3/4 time, and Ainslie finish on a high. They will struggle to beat West Perth this afternoon, but that's one of the highlights of the afternoon. Simon Horner gets a goal, but at 3/4 time, West Perth dominating. They lead 11-8-74 to 4-3-27. 3/4 time here at Blacktown, and West Perth dominating this match. Nick Payne dangerous, so too Watman around goals in that quarter, and that was the mark of the day. Van Berlo, Jay, terrific effort overhead. He's been one of the key playmakers in today's performance by West Perth. 41 points was the lead at half-time. It's now 47 points, 11-8-74 to 4-3-27. Let's go down to Chris Rourke and the Ainslie huddle.
Started really well again, and we contested everything, made a few little errors, but we picked up again from that 12. This is that gut running that we finish off with. I'd love to win the quarter here. There's no reason we can't. We're starting to get cleaner. We go through it. Don't let the ball go over the back. Keep your feet at all times. Hang on to the ball. Have ball security, and make sure we're working those packs from behind, because they're going back all the time. Look to use that ball a bit better. Look at the target. Look at the ball. A couple of times we've hit, going to Kenny, and we've just set it up. They spoil really well. This time we need a real lift from everybody. I really think we can have a real crack at this in this last couple to outscore them and to really put on a show. Make Rambo proud for us, wouldn't it? Come on, celebrate the birth of his kid with having a good piece of footy. Play footy like Rambo. Just compete and compete and compete. All right, the team spirit's been pretty good, hasn't it? Everybody's happy. Everybody's having a bit of a chat. Everybody's I haven't seen much fun, man. Keep going, Corey. You're playing at a good level. Can you play 4 quarters at a good level? Really pleased to make sure that we play this quarter out. Let's go.
There you have it, Chris Rock. Outstanding address. Positive, obviously with his troops. A little bit down on the scoreboard. I think he was outstanding in the way he presented. And one thing about Chris, he's always positive. And Rambo, as you hear, the captain, Lawless, has had a baby. So the boys are going to play for him last quarter, and hopefully they win it.
Rambo, good on you, Dicko. Downstairs. Play for your captain, who's had a baby today, so congratulations to Ian Lawless and his partner Naomi. We don't know the sex, we don't know the weight. We know that there's a little celebration happening in the Lawless clan over the next couple of days. Really interesting to hear that address, the way that Chris went about it.
Yeah, no doubt. And look, he's been really happy with their performance so far. All he wants to do is win this last quarter, and I think that's a great attitude to go in with. Obviously, that West Perth have been quite dominant at stages through this game, but obviously now for Ainslie, he wants them to take a bit of momentum into their next week's game.
Yeah, I think, look, the game's out of their reach, obviously, but I think it's a really good attitude to have that, when they go back to their league, Canberra League team, they're going to be a better side from this. They're going to learn a lot from it.
And just further on that, we've seen it last week also with Bernie. Ainslie will take a lot of great learnings out of this game by West Perth, the way they set up, the way they move their ball, and really be able to look at some good vision during the week.
Last quarter underway at Blacktown. Donaldson with first hands on it. Almost a clearance for Ainslie. Instead, we'll have a bounce on the wing.
Yeah, the amount of dominance West Perth's had, it was 70% inside their forward 50, inside their forward half. But they had the same amount of scoring shots for the third quarter, so that's probably a real positive for Ainslie.
Watman, toe pokes. LeCras was shut down immediately. Crook, kick smothered, gets it back. Sends a high ball, collision time here. No damage done. And West Perth having to work hard to get this ball out of defence. The boundary is their best friend. They won't find it. Fleming evades Manning, or did he? Well, he did that successfully. The boundary umpire has put the arm in the air and said, no, you went out.
Oh, I tell you what, boys, right in front of it I was. I don't think so.
Ben Dixon calling for Cyclops to be used in AFL football.
Certainly doesn't look like it from here,
No,
Dicko.
it didn't look like it either from here. So, and then a beautiful delivery inside 50.
That hurt you. Anyway, Horner kicked a goal on three-quarter time. Ball taken by Shannon. Hand pass by Tyndall. Deflected by Crook. And a boundary throwing.
I just said to the band, you got that one right, mate.
yeah. Good job. I'll buy you a soft drink on the way home back to our respective ports. Ball spins back in, and Horner once again likes to make front position. Crook, superbly read. A long ball, McGregor from the side. Gee, Hunt has done a terrific job on him today. Payne, now Bennett, and that's out.
Yeah, and you're exactly right there, Mark. Hunt has done a really good job because Ken's been in a lot of contests today where, if it was someone else who was just dropping off him slowly, you might have seen Ken kick 4 or 5 goals today.
The former Crow slaps it to the front and gets involved again. Does Bennett. Across to Fleming. Throws it on the boot. Bounces critical. And he didn't get the kind roll. It looked for a moment or two as if it had just slipped over the defender's head. But as it stands, the rebound footy is quick because Tedesco, great spot up to Van Berlo. And Nathan Van Berlo. Jay, should I say. Across now to Shannon. Outside the 50. And good defensive work by the Ainslie defence.
And it was good work because Ainslie had that ball. They've had the ball inside basically their 50 for the whole of this quarter. But West Perth then were able just to bring that ball really quickly forward. So great defence there by Ainslie.
Strike slung in the tackle. The hand pass was affected. And Fleming, been pretty lively at the start of this last quarter. Has the bounce. Makes it really tough for the forward. Bennett, outnumbered.
Well done.
Terrific contest at half forward. Payne to McGregor, going nowhere. Payne gets it again. Was he pushing it back? Nothing from the umpire. Across to Marnie. A high ball. And Flay just got in the right position, made it awkward for the forward. Bennett has a shot on goal, and that's just across the face. And the West Perth defence being very miserly.
Really hoping they got reward then, but they obviously didn't. But, you know, the way Marnie went into that for that ball was, you know, in the last quarter, the game's finished. You know, it's a sensational effort.
Jack Marnie, his kick is poor. Gee, dropped almost on the goal line by Tedesco, and they've conceded a behind. In fact, he's been penalised for deliberate. Now, what's your decision here, gentlemen?
Well, we're just seeing it here on replay. Obviously, definitely rushed across, but my understanding of the rule is if you're under pressure, you're able to do that. And he seemed to me to be under pressure there, Baz.
I just think he could have maybe disguised it a bit more. He could have run over the line, pretended he was trying to get around, but it was probably a little bit blatant. So I might say I reckon it was there.
Okay, well, irrespective, it will be a goal because a 50-metre penalty has been applied. A sharp angle has now been turned into a shot on goal directly in front in the goal square.
And it's great reward for effort here for the Ainslie players. They've started this quarter off really, really well. The coach will be super happy with it.
And Jack Watman puts the ball over the fence, and I'm not sure that's coming back. The 17-year-old.
Blacktown it won't.
Boom, boom. Barry Hall sums up the departure of that football. And the free kick as it stands, the rush behind, it was declared deliberate, and then there's a 50-metre penalty off the back of that.
I just really think he could have disguised it better. That's probably my issue with it. There was pressure behind him, but if he had to disguise it a bit better, it mightn't have been a free kick.
Just an injury update down here, guys. Ainslie's Eric Stone, big collision down at centre half forward, came off and had a bit of a Chris Mew next to me. Now he's just gone down to the room, so I'll keep you posted with that.
Dico using some Australian lingo, which has made its way back from time to time. 5th goal on the board to Ainslie. Their task, according to Chris Rourke, was to win the quarter. They've made a pretty good start. Van Berlo, Nelson. Working hard there was Donaldson. Watman got a piece of it. Terrific pressure by Ainslie. The reigning premiers in the Eastern Conference of the NEAFL. Still working hard in this last quarter, although their fitness and their ability to stay with this West Perth side has been in question. They continue to work. Bennett was dragged down. Ball's turned over. Flay, Donaldson. And the ruckman hurriedly puts ball onto the boot. Watman tracks it back, the 17-year-old. Loving being in this competition. Kick went about 3 metres up and down. And finally a whistle on the other side.
And he's done a good job, Watman. He's, as you said, Mark, a 17-year-old kid, just absolutely loving the experience. He's been really, really lively. And, you know, the coach, like I said, the coach will be super happy with the start of this quarter. They're really dominating clearances inside 50, so doing a fantastic job here, Ainslie.
Tyndall got involved when it looked as if Ainslie might be heading goalwards again. Important ball to be won there. Harris on the wing. Once again, the kick was touched. 60 out from their goal. Donaldson slips a hand pass away. And not a lot of attractive footy in the last 60 seconds. No clean possessions being won here. Nelson, now Van Berlo. Normally a good user. Salikas will use his body to try and get rid of his opponent. Close to the boundary. He wheels around. Waits the hand pass for Hutchings. Streaming goalwards. Slightly off balance. And Barton was there, but good defensive work coming across on the angle, and seeing it through from behind was Vandenberg.
I think in terms of running power, it's evident that Ainslie can't go with West Perth, but they're really scrapping the game out, which is really pleasing, and the coaches will be really happy with that.
They won't be happy with that turnover. Missed the target in Harris. Comes from Hutchings across to Barton. and he would have liked to have done better from 45.
And Baz is exactly right there. The fitness levels are obviously superior in West Perth's favour, but it's been the effort of Ainslie in this last quarter, just their hardness at the football, their willingness to tackle and chase, and obviously not quite as much scoreboard pressure, but exactly what the coach asked them to do in the three-quarter time huddle.
Here's Vandenberg, the kick, too much carry for his target in Tui, and Dion Fly just keeps this West Perth defence together year after year.
Just such a steady player, and you can see there, he's kicked that football fly, and he's still directing his teammates. Exactly what you want from your backman.
Well, the umpire got in the way of the West Perth player and it allowed Ainslie to force a turnover. Lawless is over it. He can't control it. Payne's about to impose himself. Coming through Walker. He's a speed merchant. Can he get the job done? No. When he gets the ball, like most players, I suppose, he puts on 3 or 4 metres in a heartbeat. He's got some real acceleration.
Should have finished here. We're just seeing his work. Just good speed, just straight out of that contested situation. Just needed the finish though.
Dan Hunt in the back line. Centering ball. Touch of danger about it, but Black was good enough. Up to the task. And now West Perth can open some space up. Lacroix has to put the foot to the floor. Great tackle. Got the hand pass away. Oh. Ainslie still working, although Lacroix surrounded, fashions a hand pass for Flay. And the kick inside 50, Barton caught out of position. Couldn't bring it to ground. Goulet. The chip ball, Hutchings just floating across to take the mark at the back end of the centre square. As Ainslie about to force the ball forward. Payne is the target in the pocket. He's got a couple to beat. Oh, great grab. And the man with those big chunky thighs got up and took a really good grab overhead. And as he does, that will go down to Dicko.
Thanks, Mark. Here with Mark Crisp, and they've really thrown at that this quarter, Ainslie.
Yeah, they've attacking the footy has been great. They just seem to want it a bit more this quarter. Now our cleanliness hasn't been on.
And you've come off with cramp, a few salt tablets to fix that?
Yeah, hopefully, mate. Yeah, hopefully a long flight over, so hopefully just get through the last couple of minutes.
And what was last message from Bill, obviously at three-quarter time?
Just to focus on this game, obviously finishing it, and try and bring what we're doing now into next week. Big game against Peel Thunder next week, so...
Thanks, mate.
Thanks.
So a touch of disappointment, even though the scoreline shows a West Perth victory looming. The margin 35 points. Bill Monaghan wouldn't be all that impressed with what he's seen in that this last quarter. Importantly, though, Nick Payne slots the goal, and he's continuing to rack up some good numbers in front of the sticks this year. 11 goals in his local competition thus far, and he's been on the scoreboard today as well. So, good result in this last quarter so far for Ainslie.
Really pleasing to see him get some reward for effort. They're trying really hard out there, and to get some scoreboard pressure, and the scoreboard's going to look pretty flattering at the end of the game. I think it's great for him.
Here's Walker over the football, taken high. No question they've been spurred by their coach at that last change. The delivery sometimes they can let them down, and Manning read that all too easily. His ball, though, not good either. And Crook comes across to take the mark. Makes the switch dangerously. Hutchings won the free kick at the end. Advantage paid. Kick to the pocket. Awkward bounce there. Salikas has got 3 to beat, including Fleming. And his ball off. Turnover time. And the mark's been taken about 35 out by Johnson. Flirting with danger. And if your skills aren't up to it, you pay the price.
That's high risk, high reward. Switching the play. You have to be that sure with your disposal. And we've just seen then just the ability just to float across, and now they're having a shot at goal, West Perth.
Matt Johnson, left footer on debut, and just curls it beautifully right to left.
And you look at it, I think this is going to be West Perth's greatest challenge moving forward in the season. I think we've seen today when they're good, they're actually very good. They can definitely obviously compete with the better sides in the Foxtel Cup. it's been, I guess, this quarter when they've dropped off, their drop-off has been huge, I think, and Ainslie have had a fantastic final quarter. So if West Perth's good and bad can get closer together, I think they can go a real long way in this Foxtel Cup and also the WAFL this season.
Yet to kick more than 14 goals this year. That is problematical whether they'll get to that 15 mark in this last quarter with under 5 minutes to play. The crooks get involved, so to speak. Left footer from Marcus. Kenny McGregor. Nothing's gone easy for him today. It's been hard work from go to woe. Just had that pressure from behind all day.
Yeah, he has. And like I said earlier, he's had a lot of opportunities. Hunt's been really good on him, but Ken's just continued to present and provide that target all day.
Off the ground, West Perth to half forward. Van Burlo slips away the hand pass. And now they start to break. Inside 50, Barton over his head. Not much to kick to for the Ainslie defence, and hence the ball has gone over the line, out of bounds on the full with Harris, the offender. Kick by Strike, moves it in quickly, and Nelson has got it just outside the 50. Only slightly built, and I think he's looking for an option to pass it off. He does that now to Strike. He loves a goal. Kick on the way. He's hooked it immediately off the boot. And the West Perth cheer squad, all two of them, watching their side advance through to the next round of the Foxtel Cup.
Certainly been the story of the day. I think Ainslie's finish is just a little bit off. West Perth are in a scrappy affair, probably just been a little bit cleaner.
Lockie Crook. Another turnover. They are really butchering some ball when they go inside their attacking 50. Leclerc to Nelson. Searching and now finding his teammate. Hand pass from Strike over the top. Then Costigan gets involved as well. Mark being taken on the wing. And as Tui sends the Ainslie side forward to Payne, let's go down to Dicko with another boundary side guest.
Thanks, Mark. Here with Eric Stone. You came off earlier. I gave an injury report. I thought it was to the stomach, but it was to the plums.
Yeah, right in the plums. It wasn't the best feeling I've received for the day.
Now, you've had a ripping start to the last quarter. I mean, Chris Rourke should be really, really happy with your efforts so far.
Yeah, look, I think we've just been a little bit messy in close, in tight, not getting the hands out nice and clean. So we've definitely picked it up this quarter, and it seems to be showing on the scoreboard.
Impressive side, West Perth, aren't they?
Yeah, they're good. Move it pretty slick.
Well done. Thanks.
Cheers.
Thank you, Dicko. Thank you to Eric, who...
is his voice a little bit higher pitched than usual?
I'm sure, but good to see Dicko just using the vernacular from the English language so fluently and correctly. High ball, inside 50 again. Mark's been claimed and it's been paid. Well, Lawless has got the footy. I'd like to see a replay of that. Was there a West Perth player with a touch on it first, irrespective? It'll be a shot on goal.
Well, we might, so we're going to see the replay here. Yeah, he's probably lucky to get that one as a mark, I think. So, but look, you take him when you can, I think.
A few hands on hips in the West Perth defence. Lawless shoots on goal, and he just cheeky wink to the West Perth defenders to say, "I might have pinched one there." And they continue to keep putting the pressure on West Perth, and they can hold their head up high as they walk off the ground today.
Yeah, definitely. And they set out a three-quarter time to win the quarter. I think they're going to do that, which is a great feather in their cap. As I said, going back to the Canberra League, they're going to improve a hell of a lot from this victory in the last quarter.
And it's also a great response to them. The coach asked them to give something this last quarter, and they've responded to the coach's message. So, I think it's been a great performance by Ainslie. They were really good in that first quarter, where they applied enormous pressure, and they've been really good in this last quarter. Now, clearly, West Perth have the superior fitness, and also obviously. Probably a touch more talented, but Ainslie's effort, I just think, has been first rate for the whole day.
The margin was 47 at three-quarter time. It's been reduced to 36 now. So they have won the quarter so far, and there's only 90 seconds to play. Marcus Crook to Horner. Intercepted in West Perth. with some touches inside the centre circle. That ball is touched. And interception comes Tyndall. Floats it for Barton. That's well weighted. And a far better ball for the big forward to run onto.
Yeah, I've liked his work today, Barton. He moves around the inside that 450 very well, and what he's quite good at, he continually presents to the kicker, whether it's on the angles or straight at the kicker. So he gives himself opportunities. He's not asking for the ball to be kicked long. He's really leading up at the football.
Even Zanetti hasn't caught a lot today, but he's made some real important concepts at critical times.
Oh, that's a beautiful kick. Didn't deviate off the boot a centimetre. That's a goal to Darcy Barton. May well be the last score of this match. And he has been one of the real reasons West Perth will advance to the next stage of the Foxtel Cup.
Yeah, no doubt. One of the real reasons, and I guess one of the real positives to come out of this game for West Perth, I think definitely has been his form. He's really going to be obviously a permanent fixture in this team moving forward.
Some celebrations for the West Perth faithful. And Darcy Barton, 3 goals for the day.
6 scoring shots. You can't ask for much more out of one of your key forwards, I think.
Last minute of this match here at Blacktown. Horner won the tap. West Perth with perhaps the final entry inside attacking 50. Bouncing ball of age all and sundry. Another massive day, as we said, on Fox Footy coming up. AFL games throughout the afternoon and the night. Should be some cracking football as well. And of course next week we're in Perth at Patterson Stadium with Claremont hosting West Adelaide. So looking forward to that one.
Beauty, I think, that one.
The Tigers, of course, the runners-up last year. High ball and Manning stood under it. Wants to play on. Is there a chance for a late score? Not when you drop the ball inside the centre square like that. Some tied bodies. He's a little frustrated. He walks away. Got plenty of ink on his arm, by the way, but not all that impressed with his own performance. Mark Hutchings and he will have a word about that in the change rooms.
Going to be a real test for West Perth, the next round of the Foxtel Cup against Werribee. It's going to be a real test for them because Werribee, the quality side.
There it is. West Perth advances to the next round of the Foxtel Cup. It loomed as a real mismatch on paper, but as it stands, the final margin was 42 points.